Women who are the key in maintaining healthy families access the health system more than men, both for themselves and on behalf of their children. Women's lives have transformed over the centuries. In the 1900s, the lifespan of a woman was only about 50 years. But in the new millennium, that has increased to about 83 years, and now that number is on the rise. Women play a critical role in maintaining the health and overall well being of her communities. Women often tend to neglect themselves, and this is a problem that breeds other problems. So, joining me to discuss the importance of women's wellness and how health and well-being is linked or are linked is Islamic Care counselor Shuhaida Adam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Shuhaida, and shukran for joining me. All right, it seems like Shuhaida has lost connection or something. And while I'm trying to also configure everything out, we are talking about women's wellness and how health and well-being are linked. And if you have any comments, questions, queries, or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section or send them to us on WhatsApp. The number is 061-7660355. I know there has been a delay. Today is kind of one of those delay days that, yeah, the show must go on. So what do you think about women's health and women's wellness? I know women like to, okay, no, we don't like to, we do it because we kind of have to. We carry the burden, we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, the weight of our families. We need to make sure that everything is set accordingly at home, that the children are healthy, the children are maintained, the children are fed, the children are looked after, the children are dressed, the children go to school, and we do have to do the same for the husbands. We have to look after them and make sure that they have everything in order as well. And we often tend to neglect ourselves in the process. When we are sick, when we have the flu or anything, just it's like there's no time for us to rest because we feel like the world has to continue with us, with us the way we are, sick, with the runny, sweaty, whatever it is that you're going through. We feel like we have to move along, and we shouldn't take some time for ourselves and rest. And that is not true. You should take some time for yourself, rest, and even if the children don't bath, even if the food is not cooked, that's okay, because you still need to recover from everything that you have been doing, especially whatever illness or sickness you might be facing. All right, Shuhaida is joining me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shuhaida, shukran for joining me.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. It's a pleasure to be with you, to join you today, and to engage with the Salam Media viewers and listeners as well.
Alhamdulillah. Now, when we talk about women's health, what are we referring to?
Okay, so when we talk about health, I want to link it to wellness, right? Yes. Wellness is something that encompasses your health. And when we talk about that, it's not just, we have this wonderfully famous definition from the World Health Organization. The concept of wellness is also not something that's been around for a very long time. It's just in recent years that there's been a focus on health and wellness together. So health, we understand, as always, it's relating to our state of physical being, right? And that has, of course, been around all the years since the beginning of time. People were worried about how they felt, how physically well they were, and how they were physically able to function. In recent times, we recognize that there's a link between your health and how you feel about yourself. And we have to connect the dots there. And I'm hoping we can connect the dots today, right? So wellness, if I can give you that specific definition, it's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So it's not just your physical condition and your physical health itself. Your physical health, we'll talk a little bit about this further down, but how it's linked to everything part of your life. Your health can be impacted by what you think, how you feel, the environment around you, your social interactions. Okay, your health is linked to that. Your health can be impacted by those conditions, and then your health can also affect those conditions. Somebody who is diagnosed with a terminal illness, oftentimes their social relationships change, the emotions change, a lot about them changes, and that's impacted by their physical health. So we can't take one away from somebody. Um, and as I just said now, everything is connected. One can impact on the other, but one is not necessarily the cause of how the other is, the well-being of the other component of your life. Okay, so our mindset, often if we're going through an emotional difficulty, we can't necessarily say that the emotional difficulty is what is caused your physical illness. If you maybe get a diagnosis of some illness afterwards, it can possibly, there are stress related illnesses, but oftentimes I want to guard us against thinking that we bring illness upon ourselves through the way we act in our lifestyle. It can contribute to difficulty, to poor health, to poor physical health, but not necessarily being the direct contributor and the reason why we have certain illnesses or certain health conditions.
Hmm. Now, why is women's wellness so important?
Okay, so like you introduced earlier, and you spoke a bit about how women take on a lot of things, and oftentimes, women, when we're not doing well, we still have unspoken pressure to continue to maintain our life or continue to fulfill our responsibilities as if we were doing well as before, to maintain the status quo, to carry on meeting everybody else's needs. We often place that pressure on ourselves, or other people place the pressure on us. You may find sometimes that when the woman of the home, if she is not well, nothing else gets done in the house. So the rest of the family members wait upon her to then get better, and then everything else needs to function. So, for example, something like chores, the laundry, the clearing up, the tidying up, etc. We often find that other family members then don't support her through her illness. Even the meals, if she's sick, physically sick, she may then have to continue to see to the meals, or else nobody in the home is going to eat a full meal for the day, a healthy, wholesome meal that perhaps she wants her family to have. Um, Errands are not necessarily going to be done. The children are not necessarily going to end up going to school because now if she's not well, she can't take them. That's just physical health. In the past 2 years, well, since COVID has started, we've also experienced a lot of women who have taken on extra responsibilities due to other family members' illness or the loss of family members. So a lot of women have experienced the loss of multiple family members, and they are not really given the space and time to grieve, to process their loss. So emotionally, they are not doing well. But the pressure is still on them, and the expectation is still on women to continue to fulfill their responsibilities. So it's a difficult situation that many women find themselves in. They are really not doing well, and they find that there's a build-up. So they've lost a family member. They're not able to really fully process that grief. Another family member passes on. Somebody else is sick. There's something else that comes up. There's another loss. There's another difficulty coming. There's a lot of difficulty coming through their way, and they're not able to process that. And that is when we often find women will then they reach a point where they are now at, we could say, rock bottom. So they may reach a point of breakdown where they just can't function. And it may be something small that sets them off to this point, but it's not just about that small little action that happens right now. It's actually the build up of the difficulties, the ongoing difficulties that they were not able to process, take some time out for themselves. We talk about self-care regularly on this show, and when a lot of women are not able to do that, especially in these times, because it's just something that we put at the back of our minds and think, I'll do that when I'm on holiday, or I'll do that at another point. And it then reaches a very, very critical point of where you are probably not going to be able to function. So we really encourage people that before they even get to that point, to take a bit of time out to to recognize where they are, what their struggles are about, and try to focus on the different areas of their life without giving up their responsibilities, but taking a little bit of time to focus on wellness, so that that little bit of wellness, that the little bit of effort you put into towards your wellness, it will then build up and it will help you then cope with your responsibilities and all the other difficulties that you need to face.
Hmm. Now, earlier on, you mentioned stress. So now, what are the most common health-related issues that affect women?
Okay, so if I look at especially the clients that we're getting, for many of them, it's relating to their families, um, relating to their relationships with their families. So it doesn't necessarily only have to be parent and child. It can even be the people who are not married, don't have children. The other types of relationships with their siblings, with their parents. So it's many people are worrying on experiencing a great amount of stress relating to caring for elderly parents, relating to their parents' health, the errands that need to be done. Financial stress is very much up there at this moment. The financial difficulties associated with the whole lockdown and the aftermath of that, people are struggling with that. Many people are trying to look for some form of increasing their income. A lot of our clients have now experienced unemployment, retrenchment, and a lot of women who used to be at home, they now, who were not really financially contributing to the home, they now have an extra pressure to actually financially contribute on top of everything else that they are doing. So we have that. Many people are worried, of course, about the health, the pandemic, the environment around them. People are worried about their safety. South Africa is going through some very difficult times, and people are, it's become very real for them, this, the state of the nation, the crime, the unrest. It can flare up anytime, and people are very much worried about how this is going to impact on, you know, their properties, the things that they own, or how their children are going to grow up in this environment. So people are very much worried about the future of the country. I see it's causing a great amount of stress for quite a bit of our clients. And of course, earlier I said their relationships, so marital relationships, people are, a lot of marital relationships have been impacted by the recent times. People are very much stressed around that, and then people, their own health also, and the lack of the inability to really function as we used to before. That's caused a great amount of distress to people. That's something that I can just tell you based on what our clients are going through. And of course, physical health, not just relating to COVID, but other aspects of health as well. People are finding that they're not able to, they're not possibly exercising as per normal, they're not socializing as per normal. So they are, their emotional well-being, it's quite impacted. People's feelings, I don't want to say the emotional control, but coping with difficulty, coping with different emotions, emotional balance. People are now struggling with that.
Mm. And burnout as well. I mean, it's something that women go through and experience a lot, and you know, it's sort of looked at as a minor thing. You know, burnout is just something that just up it, just take a nap, and when you wake up, you'll feel fine. And many a times that's not the case. You need to actually find the root cause of this burnout so that you may be able to get back out there, and how can I say, do you treat your burnout?
You address your burnout, like you said, getting to the root cause of what's causing this burnout. Oftentimes it's a great amount of responsibility you're going through and not enough support. So of course, with last year, with the start of the pandemic and up until now, many people, our traditional forms of support have been taken away from us. So especially during the higher stages of lockdown, we didn't have the usual mechanisms of support. Our children, for example, our children who needed help with schoolwork, we didn't have access to their tuition. Children themselves didn't have access to recreational activities, the usual sports that would help them with their recreational time and burning off their energy and that kind of a thing. Plus, you had to see to your children, their schoolwork, their online classes, and then you had to fulfill your own work responsibilities. And then being at home caused further, taking on further home responsibilities, worrying about family members that you couldn't really interact with, family members who were sick, you possibly had to cook meals for them, support them from afar. So we didn't really have our usual mechanisms of coming together. Maybe people would have some time when they would send their children to go and spend time with family members, and then you had some time to focus on certain things at home, that kind of a thing. We didn't have that type of support. Many people who had recently gotten married or got married during the lockdown, they adapted to married life without the usual getting to know the other families, without having that welcoming into a family. So it was just them and their partners, and trying to navigating the new relationship, the new marriage, without the usual sources of support. People who became parents last year, they had newborns and they did not have that usual family support where people would come and help them with the newborn. The help and support that usually would help, that they would be able to help them, especially people who had newborns, but they had other children as well. So they had a lot to cope with. Burnout essentially was quite common. People, again, they reached that point where they just couldn't cope any further. And then work-wise also, people's work environments changed quite a bit. There wasn't necessarily that same amount of support that you possibly had when going into the office, working with your team face to face. Some people thrive with the online environment, and some people did not thrive with the online environment. They felt rather disconnected from their team. They felt disconnected from their work, their company. There was a bit of frustration that we didn't necessarily, you couldn't necessarily go to people to get things done. If you needed a confirmation of something, you couldn't necessarily go up to that person. You had to now contact them remotely. So there was quite a bit of frustration around that. Adapting also, sometimes work relating to occupational responsibilities, things were not entirely clear for who would need to do what in the online environment. So people experienced quite a bit of frustration around that.
All right, Shuhaida, stay with us. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, I'd like to talk about, what we can do to take better care of ourselves, self-care routines, etc. So please stay with us, inshallah.
Conveniently situated in the Duzimed Medical Center, Corner Burger and Bosel Street, Pietermaritzburg. We provide safe, affordable, and convenient medical facilities, open till 10 p.m. every day of the year. We have a full-house clinic that operates from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., which is run by a qualified sister. The clinic offers immunization, vaccination, wellness, general consultation, and more. Call Duzimed Medicine Depot on 033 3421 Duzimed Medicine Depot, your pharmacy of choice.
The following political party advertisement has been paid for by the party concerned.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings be upon all. My name is Imran Musa from the Al Jamaa Party. I am currently a councillor for Ward 9 in Lenasia. Vote Al Jamaa in the coming local elections for us to continue to serve you to the best of our ability. You must have seen the huge impact and felt the difference we are already making in the community. As your beloved councillor Imran Musa of Lenasia, you're most welcome to contact me on 082-805-1368 for any service delivery queries. #I love Lenasia.
Every 60 seconds, a silent pandemic claims the life of a child. Unsafe water is having a devastating global impact on health and livelihoods. Islamic Relief is at the forefront, providing clean and safe water to vulnerable communities around the world. Our tailored approach to sustainable water solutions enable families not just to survive, but to thrive, ensuring they stay healthy and safe. Give water, give life with Islamic Relief.
These days, I'm more health conscious than ever. So tonight, it's stir fry for dinner, cooked in healthy Helios pure sunflower cooking oil. Helios is pure sunflower goodness, packed with omega-6. That's good for your heart, and is approved as part of the Heart and Stroke Foundation eating plan. Dinner's ready! Helios, pure sunflower cooking oil. A healthy family is a happy one.
For a long time, we've lived in a centralized world, where institutions held the all-important data and confirmed all transactions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain development company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
Reliable access to clean water could save thousands of lives each day. With proper sanitation and easy access to fresh, clean water, communities can flourish. Our Thirst Relief Appeal provides clean water to communities in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East by building deep wells and providing sustainable water and hygiene solutions. A monthly donation of as little as 700 Rand could build a well for a community in need. That's only 23 Rand a day. Donate today. www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 11 00 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Mid-Morning Talk on Salam Media. It is 12:37 on this Wednesday noon. So I'm talking to Shuhaida Adam from Islamic Care line, and today's topic is wellness and health and well-being, the importance of women's health and well-being. And I'd like to know more about what we can do to better take care of ourselves, because, we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, and we often tend to neglect our own health and well-being. Shuhaida, shukran for staying on the line. If you have any comments or questions for Shuhaida, you can leave them in the comment section or send them to us on WhatsApp. The number is 061 7660355. So yes, what can we do to take better care of ourselves?
Okay, so before I even go into practical tips, I want to give a little bit of a perspective about how can we go about our journey to wellness. Okay, so it's not just something that's going to happen overnight. I always tell my clients that it took a certain amount of time to get you where you are right now. So expect a little bit of a time to undo or to redo or to change the things, right? To change whatever the condition is that is there. It will take a bit of time. So I'd like to share rather an approach, okay? And then you can tailor-make this approach, and you can decide what would actually work for you, and specifically in your life, your schedule, your resources, everything you have. But the first thing I want you to do is to have an approach of holism. Recognize that your health and your well-being it's constantly interacting, okay, between different dimensions of your life, different areas of your life, your spiritual practices, your health, your nutrition, your exercise, your social interactions, your occupational wellness, those type of things, those all interact together, okay? And then when we can focus on those together and recognize that each one impacts on the other, then we can be conscious. I need people to develop a consciousness relating to each area that I've spoken about. And you can also decide what other areas of your life are relevant. Okay, so what other areas do you have in your life that's relevant for you? And start becoming conscious of each area of your life, being conscious of how you're feeling, being conscious of what foods impact on you, being conscious of how exercise or lack of exercise, being conscious of the way you interact with people, your social relationships, which ones cause joy, which ones cause difficulty, which ones do you feel are unhealthy, which ones do you feel are healthy, right? So developing a sense of consciousness around holism. Everything is connected to each other and will impact. One impacts on the other, okay? Then look at balance. You want to build balance between each of those areas. If you only focus on one type of an area and you neglect the other areas, then it will lead to sort of a less than optimal development in those areas. And like I'm emphasizing again, the balance and the connectedness. So if we focus on one, there's going to be an imbalance, okay? So I need you to focus again on balance between all the areas, trying to focus fairly on each area, okay? Then the next approach is a bit of self-responsibility. So recognizing what role you play in your own wellness. especially relating to decisions that you make. If we feel that other people are controlling our lives, and if other people have a very strong impact on our wellness, our happiness, then oftentimes that can lead to a bit of distress and a bit of unhappiness. Okay, being also very much aware of the causes and the consequences of our own behavior. So sometimes we do things that sometimes we are also our own worst enemies. If you look at something as simple as diet, if we consume something that we know is not good for us, it has a bad reaction, and we want to do that. So recognize also that we also bring in about some, our actions have consequences. It can be for us, or it can be relating to other people. Okay, and then the final one, I want to unpack this a little bit with you. Being positive and proactive. Okay, so wellness does require some form of positive perspectives. However, I want to bring to your attention something called toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is when we obsess over positivity and we actually minimize or we deny unhealthy, unhappy feelings. Okay, there are certain things where you cannot minimize the difficulty that you're going through. For example, if we lose a loved one, if you get diagnosed with a terminal illness and you are physically really feeling unwell, toxic positivity would be then where you force yourself to say, to completely disrecognize the difficult feelings, the unwell, the pain that you are going through. Okay, so what we want is a balance between having a positive mindset, but also accepting that there are going to be difficult feelings, there are going to be unhappy, there is going to be unhappiness, there's going to be certain anxieties, without minimizing it and without also forcing toxic positivity on other people. So when we meet people who are going through some form of difficulty, without just always telling them to cheer up and you're not allowed to feel this way, so allowing people to also feel feeling some negative emotions, and then this is where our coping skills come in, overcoming those negative emotions, coping with those negative emotions, and then allowing us to move forward through those negative emotions. Because there are many things where you can't just minimize it. You have to go through the pain, you have to process your loss, your grief, the pain and the difficulty. You have to process it, because if we don't process it, oftentimes we then repress it. So I want to caution against toxic positivity, but I want to promote positive perspectives. So that's just sort of an approach that we can use to build wellness. And then, like I said, you have to decide what are some of the activities that you want to do. It can be something physical like exercise, or eating more healthy, or it can be something along the lines of starting to spend time with people who hold more value to you, who bring more value to your relationships, people who allow you to feel, people who don't minimize you, people who don't dominate you. So it's entirely dependent on your individual circumstances. This is also where we can come in Islamic Care and we can do a workshop with you, and then we can work individual wellness plans with our participants. So even if you come for counseling, we can start looking at individual wellness plans on the different areas of your life.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely one needs to change their habits and change their perspective in order to change the way that they look after themselves. And once again, don't put yourself last. In fact, you should put yourself first above everyone else, so that if you are healthy, you know that the rest of the family, the rest of the household will be well taken care of, well looked after as well. Shuhaida, shukran so much for your time once again, for joining me, and I look forward to the next time we have a discussion. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Shuhaida Adam, a counselor at Islamic Care Line, taking us through the importance of women's health and wellness. And she gave a whole lot of tips. And if you would like them, if you missed out on some of them, this video is available on Facebook for you to watch later on. But for now, stay with us. We will be right back.